Welcome to the Philly Adcast, informing and engaging the advertising community. Powered by Alchemy X and the Philly Ad Club. Here's your host, Bjorn Henriquez.
I thought about being in Paul McCartney's home. I saw the complex conversations, and it's all over the map. What I was trying to do in some of my research for this interview was, you try to look for like kind of one through line through someone's career, and it was a lot of different experiences. So I just wanted to talk about some of those experiences. So how was the experience with dealing with so many kind of big names and complex conversations? Had Ice Cube.
What's funny is all those people that I name drop are like not even like famous anymore, but they're famous to me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like I was telling you, I'm working with Ice Cube today, or like with Snoop Dogg or whatever.
Right.
And then, like, because I know those names, but all the names, like, I remember like the names that people were actually hyped about were like Vince Staples, or like people who I don't really know. I don't really know a lot of like modern culture in the way that I should, and I try. But Complex actually helped me learn a lot about it.
And then they put that together. So
that was another thing. Mark Echo found me to do that job. He started Complex,
right?
And he saw Mad Tiger on Netflix.
Oh, so
and
that's
then I got that job because they fired the director of that, and then he saw that on Netflix the night he fired this person, and then I got a random call to go to LA to take over the show.
Oh,
that's crazy, right?
Yeah.
So that's also why, like, I was trying to figure out like these people, and I found out I met this guy Steve Aoki, who we have actually our moms are friends or whatever. So
really?
Like from back in the day, like he's.
Did you find that out after working?
No, right before.
Okay.
Right before, because we had a mutual friend who told me about this, and then it was like, it was really weird how our circles intertwined, because he used to be in punk rock in Southern California, and my friends' bands would tour through and stay with him, and it was like really funny. But it's like. Like that whole thing has taught me a lot. And I think working on these jobs a lot of times teach you about who's famous. Like I got offered Justin Bieber's first music video, and I turned it down because I was like, I don't do music videos anymore. No, I was trying not to do music videos anymore, right?
Okay, so you were sticking to your brand and your code.
Well, I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, no more music videos, no more. I had just finished a Twisted Sister video, and I was like, that was like the last one I'm going to do. Because I was like stoked that it was Twisted Sister, because like just like them from the past. Right. And then the new guy, they're like, he's on YouTube, he's popular, and like, YouTube's nothing. It'll never be anything. YouTube's stupid. And of course, I was like dead wrong.
Wow! Wow!
Yeah.
What? Any other things that you turned down?
I'm always wrong about so many things. There's been several times when actually, I know that Bieber one specifically I was just like, no, YouTube's stupid. No, Google was another thing. Like when I was in high school, so I switched high schools once because I went to a really bad high school, which Dangerous Minds was based on. If you remember that film.
Oh yes.
I went there for a while, and then I switched schools, pretending like another Asian lady was my mom in Palo Alto, and I would commute to school in Palo Alto, California.
Gotcha.
So that is like a tech hub, and it always has been. When I was in high school, Google started, and they stopped by our school to show us like, here's a search engine we made, Google, here's some stickers. And I was like, your logo is so ugly. Like, this will never, I was like, this will never, ever take off.
That was like when Yahoo was like the king, right?
Yeah, it still is in Japan, actually.
Yeah.
But I was like, you guys will never go anywhere, you jokers. But I was wrong again. I'm trying to think, that might have been my biggest wrongness, thinking Google will never take off.
So what about being at Paul McCartney's house? Hopefully you didn't like knock over anything?
No, I mean, that was the only time I was truly scared of everything. I feel like I don't get starstruck a lot just because like I usually have to do research to like learn about who these people are. And there's been people, I'm always like, no, man, everyone's a real person. Like, it doesn't matter. But the only time that was different was with Paul McCartney, because my parents, I grew up in a house that's like culturally Japanese. And if you're culturally Japanese, like my dad's Korean, my mom's Japanese. So like they love the Beatles. Like it's just like a thing. So, I mean, Stones aren't even in contention at all. Like it's just the Beatles. Like it's not even a question. So that was the only time I was like, I don't know. I felt like it was the Pope or something. It's just like,
was that the only time your parents were like, get us something? Or
no. Actually, I mean, I was excited to tell them, and then they were excited about Jimmy Carter. Actually, Jimmy Carter was the one they were excited about. But yeah, I think like I was like, oh man, I was with him, and I remember there was times we'd be on the street and people were like, who is that? And the security would be like, that's Sir Paul McCartney. And they'd be like, I don't know who that is. And there's so many times that happened actually in New York.
In New York?
In New York. Happened a lot.
Wow.
And then I told my parents about this, and they were like, yeah, but you wouldn't know about him either if we didn't like force you, because it's our generation's music. It's not your music. So it's like, it's not my generation. So it's a parenting thing.
Right.
Really.
Yeah. So and with a former president, I've never been in the presence of a current or former president. How was that with the security and everything that comes with that, being able to connect and actually do your job?
He lives in Plains, Georgia, which is like a place with no cell reception or anything, just so far away from Atlanta or anything. You had to drive forever. He has, he has Secret Service there all the time. They rotate.
Yeah.
But we were just at his childhood home, and just a normal dude.
Yeah.
And he teaches Sunday school every Sunday. So if you live in Plains, Georgia, you're gonna have Sunday school with your kids there.
Have Sunday school with
a lot
Jimmy?
of people there still work on peanut farms and that whole thing. He was a peanut farmer. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I thought it was like, I don't know. I feel like he was a very real person in a way that I feel like it's rare to see, I guess.
So I wanted to see, because you're into technology, how two final things. One is, how is technology changing how you direct?
Well, technology is like the number one reason why I even changed my focus from fiction to nonfiction.
Okay.
Because that was the whole thing with the C300. Like I was like trying to use these DSLRs when they first came out. It's like, whoa, you can see in the dark. Like when I was first learning how to shoot, like if you didn't like blast people with light, you don't see anything. You have to shape it. You have to spend hours like setting it up. And then when these DSLRs happened and they were small, like I could just shoot anywhere, especially because I'm Asian, like I could shoot any footage anywhere and they just think it's like a home video. Like I can get away with stealing shots anywhere. I'm not kidding. It's like the best benefit ever.
Oh, wow.
They're like, oh, he's probably just like, it's for himself.
Yeah, right.
So I've used that a lot for my own personal docs where you don't have permits or anything like that.
Okay, a little tidbit, a little secret out there.
Yeah, get an Asian cameraman and just, that's going to be totally chill.
Right.
Because they just never think I'm doing anything bad.
Right. So what about, do you, when you sit and really think, because I see like new startups coming up and I always think, okay, how's this going to affect, my industry? How's AI going to affect my industry? How's blockchain going to affect, what I do? Do you see anything that's kind of in your periphery right now that's going to dramatically affect it?
I mean, I fought it forever, this whole vertical video thing I fought forever. And I taught a class last semester at NYU, not in the film school, but actually like in the business school, about, it was a partnership with Facebook and Instagram where I got hired by NYU because I'm from the film department. It was all about vertical video and the future of IGTV. And they were like, they were trying to like, still are trying to do, be the destination in the future for vertical video. Because everybody is dabbling with vertical video, but they're like, IGTV could be long form vertical. I mean, Korea, like some absurd, like 80 or 90% of viewership happens like on a phone, right? And
so when you
Korea's
say vertical
the future
video,
too, so.
When you say vertical video, meaning basically mobile-based video.
Yeah, like you're holding like as a phone.
Right.
Like, and I used to always say like, the moment anyone shoots anything on a phone, I quit the business. That was always what my philosophy was. But like, I always say stuff like that because I'm just being dramatic or ridiculous. But like,
you just say wrong a lot.
Yeah, and I'm wrong a lot. And the thing is, and this is something where I feel like it's like who's to say what's wrong about like how people want to see things, right? So we only like watching 24 frames per second at 180-degree shutter angle because that's how cameras are made, right? So like that's why we think that looks good. It looks like a movie just because they made them that way, right? Why do we like shallow depth of field? Why do we like this like aesthetic? It's because of the way that those movie cameras were made. We're always trying to copy this thing, right? And then now we see people making beautiful footage look like VHS or look like horrible stuff for some nostalgia or something. In the same way, when I saw stuff that looked like a movie or Super 8 or something, like it affected me emotionally in the same way that like somebody would watch an old skate video or a VHS tape or even like, I don't know, a mixtape on cassette or any of this technology that doesn't move me in some way, but like, moves other people. So in the same way, if you grow up not watching movies, in the way that we've been watching them, who's to say you can't tell a story in this way if this is how people are going to watch it? Especially if places like Korea are mostly like, if they're watching anything at all, they're watching it like that.
Yeah.
So I wanted to work with Facebook and Instagram to find out like what the best practices were, like how people are watching it, how long.
Right.
I feel like if I can like figure out this stuff, I joke about being wrong a lot, but I'm wrong a lot because I think about it a lot. Try to figure out like, can I continue to work in the future? What can I do? Because I remember when Vine first came out, and I know it's gone now, and I saw some Vines that my students were doing. I was like, wow, their storytelling.
Well, Vine isn't
is
technically gone. I will say, because it was just a feature-dependent business, once Instagram and Facebook adopted that, that's what did it. So the behavior is still there.
But that influence, right?
Yeah,
so like thinking about like storytelling in 6 seconds or however.
Right.
And yeah, I used to think you can't tell a story in 30 seconds, which now feels like an eternity when you're trying to like sit through a pre-roll or skip or something.
Right.
It's probably only 15 seconds. It feels like eternity.
Yeah, you're like, okay, can I skip? Wait, where's the skip on here? Right.
But yeah, I feel like there's ways to tell stories in that way. And I feel like the future of advertising, to be effective, is truth. Like get your message out, be memorable, and just try to figure out how to reach people.
Right.
Because in the end, like the whole world is sales, right? Like it's like the whole idea of like convincing anyone to do anything. Convince anyone to work with you. Convince anyone to like watch your thing. Convince anyone to collaborate with you. Convince any, so I feel like
it has to be authentic too. That's the other part. So I'll get clients a lot of times say, I need to get my message out to so many people and I want to make it this way. And they're kind of copying like someone else's ad, like obviously copying someone else's campaign or blueprint. And reaching people is great. You can advertise on just about any platform and buy the eyeballs. But if it doesn't come across great, if the creative side isn't authentic and honest and it's what your company or service or what it really is, it's just not going to work, and you end up wasting a lot of time and money in that way. But it's interesting. So you're saying that in thinking of filmmaking at this point, you're thinking of how it's going to be consumed differently. So you're making it
in my lifetime. Might not happen right now, but like I'm just trying to say like it'll influence stuff, and I'm going to be asked to do it. I know for a fact I'm going to be asked to do it. I was asked to do it a couple of years ago, actually, to do a show on Snapchat with Billboard. And we went down to Atlanta, hung out with Migos, and did all this weird stuff. Got into Atlanta rap, which I didn't know anything about before.
Oh, wow. You got into
the
trap scene down there?
Yeah, I thought it was cool. Like, the thing is, like...
Didn't come back with a chain?
Well, I think that stuff is really funny. All my friends, like, growing up listening to hip-hop, they always, like, love this 90s hip-hop and whatever. But, like, I don't know, man. I think what they're doing now is, like, way more my speed because it's really funny. Because they're just, like... I don't know,
way more entertaining.
Well, I don't know. They're just like, I don't know. I think it's a reaction to the world. It's a reaction to the way the world is. They're not trying to be poetic or anything. They're just trying to do drugs and have a good time. It's like a coping thing to like this insane world we're in.
Right.
And they actually have a real scene. But anyway, that whole thing was a Snapchat show. Shoot everything vertically. And it's a music show starting in Atlanta about different scenes. Right? It's like cool. That's cool.
Okay.
And then, yeah, like basically we went to do it, and then Snapchat had some financial problem or something, and then they didn't even release the show or anything like that. But I'm saying like 2 years ago it was already happening. I wonder though if it's like VR or something, which everyone's like, learn VR, and then it went away. But I always felt like VR didn't make sense because like the whole point of filmmaking is to like frame stuff up. Like you're like, look at this.
I think
you let people like look at anything. I don't know.
It went more. I think it's going more experiential. I see what the NBA
should be real estate.
Yeah, definitely.
Do that. Walk through my apartment.
You just put it in and walk through. But even, being able to, you've never had the chance to sit floor seats at a game. If you can put on headset and feel like your floor seats and the NBA's
Is that good though?
I haven't tried it. The NBA's been pumping it.
Stuff.
This is the thing. For, coming up, and I never went to a sporting game until I could afford to buy tickets. Right? So I didn't go with my parents, stuff like that. But to be as a kid to be able to put my phone into a headset and sit there and kind of experience that and look around and see it and feel it, for those that can't really get there, I see more of a use case for real estate, definitely. More so than, hey, I'm going to shoot a movie and I'm going to be like in the movie.
It's a different purpose. It's a different creative. I mean, in every piece of technology like shapes I was just trying to think about this today, like Instagram stories versus Instagrams, like they serve, and I think about this a lot because we work with Facebook. The whole thing is the different purposes it serves, and like the different kinds of ways that people use it to tell their story in different ways or get messaging out. It's interesting to see how all these tools work. And I've seen cinematographers come up that were really good early on with social or like getting their brand out there and like getting hired for things just because they became experts in certain things or being able to be presented as the experts in certain things.
Selling themselves. Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I would love to end on that. End on your view of the future of advertising, vertical video, and the kind of the open-endedness that all this technology is providing us to be able to be, creative. And some of the students in your class, you probably, years down the line, is going to be they're going to be dealing with a totally different monster that we can't even conceive of. So definitely, well, thank you so much for taking the time. This has been fantastic. There'll be links in the show notes, and you'll be able to have links to John's work and be able to have bonus scenes and bonus footage from this interview.
This episode was recorded at Alchemy X. On behalf of the Philly Adcast team, I'm Lisa Leonard. Thanks for listening.